You want to know how packed these theaters were for this movie? Think Avengers Endgame, but for people who live in Baltimore City. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today our movie in the middle is The Baltimorons. The Baltimorons is the newest rom-com based in Baltimore City about a man and his dentist and the shenanigans they get into and the romance they develop. It stars Michael Strassner, Liv Larson, and Olivia Luccardi. So this is a very unique and cool experience and movie for me and many others who live here in Baltimore for many reasons, primarily because it's set in the city we live in, and it's actually a pretty big movie. But there's a bunch of other stuff that goes into this too that's just really cool. One, it is directed and partially written by Jay Duplass. And that last name might sound familiar to some of you if you know Mark Duplass, who I believe is in The Morning Show, that one with Jennifer Aniston and I think Reese Witherspoon. But for my horror fans, you might know him from a little bit more of a niche reference in Creep. And his brother apparently wanted to make a movie that was set here, which is pretty freaking cool. And apparently the budget was like shoestring. They said it was basically almost nothing, and a lot of the stuff that they had to pay for was really just street permits. Basically, they were like DIYing everything, which is crazy. And just as I said with a couple reviews back, I actually know a bunch of people who worked on this one. So again, pretty cool. Baltimore, Maryland film industry is getting some work, which is good. I think it's pretty cool that we still have a bunch of big stuff, and hopefully this will really drive more to us. And of course, this movie then premiered at the Senator Theater, and there was not an empty seat in the house. I wasn't able to make it to this one, unfortunately, but apparently it was packed. Like, every ticket was sold, which is cool because, as you know about the Senator,
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Starting off with the highs, obviously the most unique part, at least for me, that it's set in Baltimore. It's set in the place that I've lived in for my entire life. And honestly, it's just nice to have a whole movie about the city that doesn't have to do with crime. It's been mentioned more and more in like movies that have come out recently, like The Shape of Water and Captain America and, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all of that. But there hasn't been one that's like, this is for the Baltimore people. This feels like an Easter egg hunt for people who live here, This movie was made for us. Other people outside in other states and in other countries, they can watch it and enjoy it, but this movie is made for us. It was just so funny watching this movie and going, hey, that's the street that I drove in to get here. Hey, that's a sculpture that I know. That's the team that I root for. That's the place I got towed once. Humans are honestly really simple creatures. We have a thing, and then we put that thing on a screen, and then everyone's just like, oh my God, it's the thing. But it's up there now. And it was very cool seeing this in a local theater with a bunch of people who could really appreciate the ins and outs of it. I mean, a Monday night at the Charles Theater, the Charles being the kind of artsy theater that we have here that shows a lot of like the indie movies and, I don't know, you're kind of off the wall ones. Although it was pretty funny because even for me, there were a couple, maybe one or two references or jokes that were made that everyone laughed, and even I was like, I don't think I get it.
Dang! I'm like one of them.
And I'm getting there, I'm getting there. I've been slowly but surely discovering and exploring the place that I've lived in for 28 years. But I gotta say, there's a lot of stuff about Baltimore that's just so freaking cool, man. Like, this is a city of passion. This is a city of incredibly creative, artistic people. There's just a lot of cool stuff here. Something that I just found out the other day that we have that I didn't realize was nowhere else. This is just a Baltimore thing. As far as I'm aware, this is called the Book Thing. I was just at it at this book festival last weekend, and it's a warehouse where once a month they just bring droves of people in 1 hour at a time, and they can just pick however many books they want for free forever. You just take them. There's not even a limit. It's wild. I had that whole rant about the library in the last one. This is almost even cooler. Guys, I got a lot of books, but the piece de resistance in this one was Hugo. That's the movie, but the invention of Hugo Cabret. And look at this. Look at the drawings. That's freaking, it's just beautiful. Thank you, Baltimore. So yes, if you're ever in Baltimore, check out the book thing that happens to be that weekend. You can get so many great books, such as The Necklace Curse of the Hourglass, which will be available everywhere October 24th. Damn, that's really crazy that they have so many good books like that. Now, on a quick tangent, I will say, there is one thing about Baltimore that is not my favorite. The accent. I can't stand the accent. I don't talk like that. I will never talk like that. What is this? What is that? People from Baltimore, tell me. No. And it's called Baltimore. 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 And don't even get me started on crabs for Christmas.
Oh, I want crabs for Christmas. Oh, only crabs will do.
Speaking of, this movie takes place at Christmas. It takes place on Christmas Eve, and that's already a win. You know, it's very cool because then that just automatically adds it to a catalog of holiday movies. But being a rom-com, that's also an incredible setting and time to take place during the year as well. It's just so cool seeing like 34th Street in Baltimore lit up. You know, I mean, that's just such a beautiful place, and I'm glad that somebody has that in a narrative now. Genuinely, this might become an annual or at least every other year holiday watch. No joke. But going into the actual movie, the writing and characters are so well done. The people who wrote this, Michael Strassner and Jay Duplass, have an incredible understanding of how to gradually and realistically, naturally develop characters and reveal more about them to us as the audience, but also to each other. They are very good at building scenes upon each other that progress the story, that progress the characters in a very authentic way, but also are just inherently entertaining in their own right. I mean, there is so much humor in this movie that is actually genuinely funny. Like, I was busting out laughing, even stuff that's not just, oh, I would get it as somebody who lives here, but anybody. There was just so many good moments of yes-anding. You know, they talk about this in the movie because the guy's a comedian, and there's a lot of moments where they do practice what they preach on that in the story. There's a lot of yes-anding jokes. So much of the charm, and yes, I say that, I know it's a pun, Charm City, but for real, so much of the charm of this movie comes from the acting, specifically from Michael Strassner and Liv Larson. They are so good together, and there's even this, like, age gap, which isn't super addressed in the movie, but it doesn't really need to be honest with you. They just had such, I don't know, it was one of those relationships where I couldn't see it at first, and they built it. They made you see, okay, you know what, they are really good together as they kind of progress as characters and come to know each other and bond over these weird situations that are happening. And the acting is just so good, both on the comedic side and the emotional side. They both were very good at both types. I was genuinely impressed. But I can't leave out Olivia Luccardi because she was great as well. There are a couple scenes, they could have been those scenes to be like, okay, yes, this is still an indie movie with indie actors. The emotional parts of this are getting a little bit too dramatic, or the acting falls a little bit here, but it doesn't. And those, honestly, are some of the most powerful scenes in the movie. And I also looked her up, and it was just interesting to find that fun tidbit for anybody who saw it. She was actually in It Follows. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so she's obviously had acting experience before, but it was just, those scenes were so impactful and really just put the bow on top. There is literally only one thing I can think of as a low, and it's not even a huge deal. It's just something I did keep noticing, and that's that Jay Duplass has, like, I don't want to say it's an obsession, but a love for using a telephoto zoom in. You know, those kind of zoom-ins that you see, like, in 70s horror movies that kind of give you a very unsettling feeling. I wasn't quite sure why that choice, because, like I said, that is usually implying or makes you inherently feel kind of anxious. And there are moments that it's used where it's a sort of stressful situation, or sort of like, oh, there's a weird conflict of emotions going on here. But I didn't quite get that choice for those moments. And then there are some where I thought maybe it was used to be funny, but it didn't quite just make sense to me. So overall, I loved this movie. I genuinely had such a good time with it. It's one of those that, you know, it could come off as like, oh, you're just biased because it's about the city you live in. Oh, you just enjoyed the Baltimore stuff more, and the movie wasn't as good, but you really liked it just as an experience. No, The movie itself is really, really good. And again, it's because of the acting and the writing and the characters. It was just solid. They just knew how to write a movie like this. And I mean, you might have already guessed because I have this behind me, but one of the first things I thought about this movie maybe 15, 20 minutes in was, this is The Holdovers for Baltimore. And you know how good that movie was and how much I liked that movie. So if you like that one, definitely check this one out, because it's that, just a little bit grittier and indier, I would say. And I'm absolutely excited to see where all of these actors go and if they do more stuff. And really, I'm just excited to see if more things come here and are about here, because that would be pretty cool. I'm going to give the Baltimorons a 3.5 out of 4. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the Baltimorons if you've seen it, and especially if you're from another state, drop in the comments below what you thought about it and just what your thoughts are on Baltimore and people from Baltimore in general, because I've seen a lot of very funny things about us, specifically from this Facebook page called Maryland is a Cult, Not a State. So stuff like that's really funny to see. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.